Hello and welcome to our presentation, Light Exercise and its Impact on Reaction Time and Short-Term Memory. I hope you enjoy. Here's the background info. Multiple studies have shown that exercise can decrease reaction time. This research is considerably recent, with most being done within the past decade. Nonetheless, there are some inconsistencies, with some studies showing that exercise can slow reaction time. Subsequently, there is very little research that shows exercise's short-term effects on memory. The introduction. Exercise has many effects and benefits for the body. This includes improving cognitive health, like thinking, learning, and problem solving, as well as general health benefits such as sleeping better, feeling better, and losing weight. However, these are all long-term benefits. So what are the short-term effects? It is known that exercise increases the blood flow to the muscles in the brain, so it is not a stretch of the imagination to think that there could be positive effects in reaction time, since it is directly related to both the nervous system and the muscles. Effects on memory, on the other hand, are not as clear. There are evident long-term positive effects on memory, but not short-term. This research proves to clear up any information involving short-term impacts on memory and how it compares to reaction time. Our research question: how does light exercise affect reaction time versus short-term memory? Is it beneficial or detrimental? Is the difference between the two large? The methodology. For every subject, we had them complete the reaction time and visual memory tests from the Human Benchmark website on Chromebook. For more information on what that is, look at the Human Benchmark website. This would be our control data. We would document this on Google Sheets to keep track of their results. Then we would have them do 10 push-ups and 30 jumping jacks to serve as light exercise to get their blood flowing. Immediately after, we would have them do the same tests and then document results. This is done to show how exercise affects both the reaction time and short-term memory in the moment. The hypotheses. Our null hypothesis states that exercise has no immediate effect on either reaction time or short-term memory. The alternative hypothesis is that exercise has an immediate, significant, and positive effect on reaction time and short-term memory, and has a greater impact on reaction time. Now the data. As you can see here, these are our data tables that show how people did in the reaction time and visual memory tests before and after exercise. And here's that data visualized. On the left, you can see the graphs for the various trials that people did for reaction time and memory, and how they did before and after. As you can also see, some people improved and some didn't. I'll talk about why that is in the conclusion. And on the right, you can see the averages of the data. In these graphs, it shows that on average, the subjects both improved for reaction time and memory before and after exercise, but the differences are very minimal. This is the calculations, the data analysis, and the results. After all the data was collected, it was time to start working on the math. The first step is to calculate the mean, which is done by taking the sum of every number and then dividing it by the number of the subjects. This was done for both tests. Secondly, we needed to calculate the variance, which is done by taking the value of one observation and subtracting it by the mean of all observations, then square it and divide by the total number of observations minus 1. Third was standard deviation, which is done by taking the square root of the variance for both samples. This leads up to the dependent t-test. For the reaction time, the t-statistic came out to be 0.3, which, when compared to the p-value of 1.753, it is significantly lower, which states that our data is not statistically significant. The same test was also done on the visual memory, which came out to be 0.08, which is also lower than the p-value, which means that both sets of results are not statistically significant. That states that we failed to deny the null hypothesis. Overall, this means that we are not effectively able to prove that exercise has any positive effect on reaction time at all. Here are the equations used in the calculations. And now the conclusion. Through conducting research and performing tests on multiple subjects, our main goal was to determine if doing light exercise had effects on reaction time and short-term memory. Furthermore, in doing the analysis of the data, it became clear that the exercise had very little effect on both reaction time and memory. This does not mean, however, that exercise has no effect on reaction time and memory in general, but it can mean that there were multiple sources of error that could have skewed the results. One could have been that the definition of light exercise is different from person to person. This means that our test of making subjects doing push-ups and jumping jacks could be more extreme exercise for more inactive people, and instead of getting their blood flowing, the test made them exhausted and increased their reaction time instead. Another cause for error could be the variance of test environment from person to person. Due to the circumstances surrounding every test, there could have been distractions in the environment that slowed their reaction time or inhibited their memory. We could have solidified the data by getting more test subjects, defining a more consistent procedure that ensures that everyone gets light exercise, and having a distraction-free test environment. Overall, our testing experience illustrates how much of a well-oiled machine that an experiment like this has to be in order to get good results and the general difficulty of this prospect. Thank you, and I hope you enjoyed our presentation.